Hi there, I'm Simon Canton. Welcome to my vlog. A couple of weeks ago, Smashwords published its annual report on the state of electronic book publishing. If you're not familiar with the report, it's an analysis of which books sell the most based on their word counts, title length, and so on. The curve that caught my attention was this one. It's the amount of money made by authors based on their sales rank. As you can see, the authors at the top ranks are earning a lot more than those at the bottom. The conclusion they drew from this is that a few authors are earning all the money, and thousands of other authors are practically invisible due to lack of attention. There's definitely some truth to that. Position in top 100 lists is very important. However, there's an assumption there that I'm just not sure of. The assumption is that all authors and books are equal, that a book on the right of the curve is equal to a book on the left of the curve. It's true that two books on opposite ends of the curve may have taken an equal amount of time and effort to write. It's not necessarily true that the two books are equally interesting and well written. Taking Hugh Howey as an example, I read Wool because my friend Henning came into the office and said, "Hey, you should read this book Wool, it's great." I bought it, read it and enjoyed it. There are a lot of people who've criticised Wool, but I found it an interesting mystery well told. True, once it rose in the charts it got more eyes on it, but I think it got to the left of the curve for a reason. This is the least subjective test in history, but I'm going to download the samples from the top earning authors' best rated works and read them. I'll let you know what I find out. Alright, so for my little experiment, I took the Forbes top earning authors list, which had 11 authors on it. I then considered John Grisham, J.K. Rowling and Suzanne Collins in the positive column, as I've already read a number of their books and enjoyed them. I then went to Amazon and looked for their top rated book and downloaded a sample. Remember that my theory is that these books are special in some way. I'm expecting that their books should grip me regardless of genre. If I'm right, they'll be so well written that I'll see the potential in their samples. I'm taking their top rated book because they don't have to have a spotless catalogue to fit my theory. They just have to have an exceptional book. First up was Jeff Kinney. I've heard of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but figured as an adult they wouldn't be interesting to me. I have kids, so I've read a lot of bedtime stories. I read Hard Luck, which was his top rated title on Amazon. It was actually interesting. It showed personality and kept me turning the pages. I'm now considering buying them and reading them to my youngest son. Next I read Two for the Dough by Janet Evanovich. I didn't really enjoy this. It was fairly well written, but there were far too many details. That's a personal pet peeve of mine. I know a lot of other people like description, but I don't. This book in particular described the main character's neighbour's life history. Not for me at least. Next was Winners by Danielle Steele. I hated this. Sentences 8 lines long, paragraphs over a page long, a grammar error on the second page. I couldn't drop this fast enough. So far 4 against 3. And next up was Bill O'Reilly and Martin Dugard with Killing Kennedy. I'm a Libby Lib, so I think Bill O'Reilly is a pox on society. I went into this trying to keep an open mind, and was pleasantly surprised. This book has fantastic descriptions, vivid emotions, and is very well written. I would have read more if it didn't mean giving money to Bill O'Reilly, so that's just about the best review you can get. I think he's appalling, but I still liked his book. Next up was James Patterson with Maximum Ride, School's Out Forever. It's a terrible title, but the book was very well written. It was interesting, and you quickly got a feel for the situation. This book seemed to be partway into a series, but I didn't feel out of place and didn't notice any backstory dumping. I would have read more of this book. Then I read The Green Mile by Stephen King. Obviously this book is pretty famous. I've read one Stephen King book before, Needful Things, and I hated it. I'm not a gore fan, so it just grossed me out, and the plot just seemed to disappear towards the end. So I wasn't expecting to like this book. However, this book had a great start. I felt a quick personal connection to the main character, and the prose was exceptionally poetic. I would have read more of this. Next I read the sample for Chesapeake Blue by Nora Roberts. This had a very distinctive start, unlike much else I've read. It had good imagery and characterization. Again, I would have read on. Finally was Watchers by Dean Koontz. Firstly, the cover was laughable. I'm not trying to be facetious when I say I could have made a better cover. I'm not a cover designer, and I could have made a better cover. Just like Stephen King, I read a Dean Koontz book when I was a teenager and I hated it. So I wasn't expecting to like this one. And I didn't like this one. The font choice was appalling, making it difficult to read. It was all told in narrative summary, and there was just so many details. I gave up after 3 pages. So that puts 8 books in the enjoyable column and 3 books in the not enjoyable column. Of course, books are a matter of taste, but my experiment was to find out that if certain books could cross genre and taste. This is far from a conclusive study, but I'd encourage any authors to go and read the top-rated books from the top-selling authors. For me, they seem to deserve their places for the most part. Hey, did you know some of my books are actually free? That's right, you can click the links over there and get books completely free. Or you can click the link below and go to my website.